Yes, the Quantum Entwinement Subspace Prayer Program. And we're going to be teaching you today about the introduction to the Telemed program and how to understand the basic ideas of our medicine dealing first with stress. Stress is the medical concern. Now, we're going to be reviewing the basic ideas of stress as a medicine. But way back, there was the ICD code, the International Classification of Disease Code for Stress. Then it changed to 308.9. Now, here it is, 2020, and the new number is Z73.3. This is stress needed to get insurance payment. Now, we're going to be talking about medicine, a whole new idea of medicine, and how stress is the medical concern.
Hans Selye was a Hungarian, and he came up with the idea of stress and the pathway of stress as towards disease. He said that there was ease of flow, and that is health. Along comes something that helps block this flow or overstimulate the flow, and this sets up dis-ease, where there's too much or too little. We now take a look at the ideas, and as these type of stressors come in, these different things that come into the body, these different stressors, and let's take a look at them. And the idea of the stressors are, number one, just simple stress. The idea of stress at work, stress from the family, and pressure, and job stress, and school stress, desires to perform, desires to conform, desires to not to conform. All of these things put stress on us. And everybody has a different level of stress that they're comfortable with. And that doesn't change too much through life. But there's much more to life than just the simple idea of stress. There's more. There's the idea of a lack of awareness or education. If you do not know that white sugar is bad for you, if you don't have that education, then it's going to be a problem. If you do not know that having coffee with a meal is harmful to your pancreas and harmful to digestion, then you won't understand. So you have to become educated, and you have to become aware of different things. If you think that it's summer and you dress for summer, but actually it's fall or even winter, if you're not aware of the seasons, this type of condition will create problems for you. You must become aware of your body. If you're eating and your body's had enough, you have to be aware of the body saying, I've had enough, rather than the mind saying, wait a minute, I paid $24.95 for this, I'm going to keep eating. You have to be aware of the body. We have to have awareness education. We have to learn ideas of the mental factors of greed and anger, delusion, worry, and fear, and all these other things, and how they strike us and hurt us if we hold on to them too much. These different energies of the mental factors touch us, but we shouldn't cling to them. It's clinging to them that create the disease. It's okay to mourn. It's okay to be fearful. It's okay to be greedy, but not when you hold on to it. It's the stickiness of some of these emotions that create disease. Allergy has a mental factor, that when we were first exposed to something, if we're under stress, under the idea that we might possibly die, then our body will make more antibodies to something. So we have to understand these different types of things. We have to understand the ideas of heredity. We can have inborn tendencies to disease, and etc. All of these, what I've just brought here on the list so far, are the internal causes. Now let's look at the external causes of disease, the external stressors. Trauma. You could fall. You could be hit by a piece of small lead called a bullet. You could twist an ankle. Many different things that can create problems in our lives. Trauma. Toxicity. We live in a very toxic world, and toxicity can create health problems, create disease. Pathogens, microorganisms, worms, virus, bacteria, etc., create disease. Deficiency or excess of nutrients, and you can get just as sick from too much of a nutrient as you can from too little of a nutrient. We have to have a balance of these things. All of these make up an idea, including with perverse energy, the idea of too much heat, too much cold, too much wind, too much dryness, too much radiation, too much humidity, all these other things that create perverse energies. Ionizing radiation, X-rays, cosmic rays, gamma rays. These things can all create disease as well. All together now, these make up the stressors. These stressors come, and when they come, they produce an alarm reaction, Xiaoye said. The alarm reaction is like the itch, the cough, the pain. We get an alarm reaction. This is the symptom. If we do not deal with the stressor will go deeper and deeper and deeper, and eventually the body will find a way to adapt, go into the second stage and adapt to the stressor. Thereby the symptom will go away. The itch might go away, the pain, the cough, the runny eyes. These things might go away because you have adapted to the continued stressor. The disease is going deeper, but the symptom goes away, and the most critical statement in all of our healthcare: being symptom-free is not an indicator of health. We must embrace that and recognize that as well. The stressor can go deeper and deeper, and after the adaptation stage and go into the exhaustion stage, where organs start to give out, organ systems give out, cells give out, organ systems, and finally the organism. And if continued, the stressor continues, it can go into death. Before it goes, it can go into functional disturbance, where the function of an organ is disturbed, and later it can go into an organic, where not just the function, but the actual organic nature of the organ. The organ can hypertrophy and swell, or atrophy and get smaller. And thereby, we now see the different ideas of disease. In order to develop the way of handling this disease through our natural methods, we first recognized reduce all of the causes, and I say causes plural, all the causes of disease. It is rare that there is a single cause. There usually is a single thing that might be the start of all the other problems. But basically, if we look at all the causes, we get a better idea. We then want to repair the organs that have been damaged. The idea is that the cause is like a nail in the tire, but after we take out the nail in the tire is still flat. We have to do something to help repair the organ that has been affected by the cause, the stressor. To do this, we have to be able to use the Sarcode type therapies and developing and lifestyle and etc., good nutrition and all these things to help repair the organs that have been problems. Then we need to unblock the blockages to flow. The idea of dis-ease is dis-ease of flow. And we want to be able to work with the acupuncture, the chiropractic, and all the other different sciences that are balancing the flow of energy. Next, we want to treat the symptoms. Yes, we need to treat the symptoms, but we want to treat the symptoms naturally and not synthetically. The pharmaceutical people have developed synthetics, but we now know that a synthetic anything is an insult to the body. We do not want to insult the body unless we absolutely have to. Once a patient has been given a synthetic drug or any type of drug from his medical doctor, please do not interfere with that sacred relationship. You might be able to help talk to the patient, but it's between the patient and the doctor as to what they do with that relationship of whether they're going to take that prescription or not. The doctor and the patient should look at this. You might be able to offer advice and say, maybe let's try something natural, but you need to do that with the doctor, because this is very critical, to be able to work with the medical system, not against it. As I've told you in many of the other interview processes, we always want to have a referral. We want to refer our patient to the medical doctor. It's the medical doctor's job to do the diagnosis.
You see, we really don't need to diagnose. Yes, it can help, but we need to leave that diagnosis to the doctors who are licensed to do it. As a biofeedback person, you're here to help with their lifestyle, help with their stress. Leave the diagnosis to the doctors. Let them do the guessing.
If we look at House, we're going to see how they struggle to do diagnosis episode to episode to episode. That's how they work. And you can see that with virtually every patient that they do see, they always get the diagnosis wrong.
Mebendazole can cause adverse effects, but nothing like this.
He's been off them since yesterday anyway.
Long passes, wild guesses, anything.
Hypopituitarism could cause multi-organ failure.
His thyroid hormone wasn't completely normal.
Those threadworms, why would his body have gone to hell just hours after they were gone?
The worms weren't hurting him, they were helping him. He has extra-intestinal Crohn's. He got it from being raised in too clean, too overprotective of an environment.
It's the hygiene hypothesis, why there's so much autoimmune disease in the developed world and almost none in the developing world.
The worms were keeping the Crohn's in check, teaching his immune system what it should have learned from eating dirt growing up.
Once you killed them, it started killing him.
So his life of filth wasn't the problem. The clean living was. Let's start him on methylprednisolone.
And some helmets.
Worms. Cool, huh?
Yes, this is the best way to strengthen your child's immune system. This is the best way to really get the immunization. This really is the best way to start to immunize your child. So as we see, stress is the medical concern behind all diseases. Now that you've learned that it isn't just stress, but it's a group of stressors that we need to reduce to help our patients.